Seth, the president and CEO of MySci. We're glad to have such a great event here. We're really appreciative of Chad Putnam and all his volunteers who helped make this day possible. I think we ought to give Chad a nice hand, by the way. And I want to remind everybody that, MySci is all about STEM, but no one ever flunked a trip to the Science Museum, so you're all okay. MySci's done a lot of amazing things in the last few years. Behind us is the brand new Challenger Center. You may have read that we've just cemented an alliance with the Dudley Observatory, and we have the resident Dudley Observatory astronomer here we had several hundred people here the other night for the eclipse. And to show you how much we need to work on STEM education, I did have one lady call me and said, "I missed it, could you do it again?" So we're open every day from 9 to 5, except for Sunday we're open, and then we're just open noon to 5. We'd love for you to come back, bring your families, bring your friends. We have a wealth of programs. STEM education is really important to us. We know that learning is lifelong. Be sure and see our brand new exhibit, Design, Build, and Create, which is right behind you as you go in the gallery. It's now my pleasure to welcome Mayor Gary McCarthy, who's, of course, the mayor of Schenectady and my good friend.
Thank you, Matt. I want to welcome everyone here today. Again, thank Chad for really coordinating, being the driving force for this. I want to acknowledge some of my colleagues from City Hall, City Council President Peggy King, Councilwoman Marion Porterfield. And the history of this country, the history of this city, some of our neighboring cities, was built on manufacturing. And it was a proud history. It provided stability. It enabled a lot of great things to happen. It set an agenda that this country drove, and really the world followed. We went through a period, somewhat of a decline. Different factors were in play, but we're starting to see manufacturing come back in this country. And it's just great that we've designated a day, a week, so that we can focus on those opportunities and the potential that exists, again, within our community, the region, and also the nation, to reinvigorate, to create ideas, to market products that, again, drive a global economy. So I thank everyone for being here. It was a great panel that just happened before we are doing this press conference. I see the enthusiasm in all the students that are here, some of the community leaders, manufacturers that are here today. It's really, I think, setting a strong foundation for a great future. And I thank everyone for making this day happen and look forward to working with you in the future. Now I have the opportunity and pleasure to introduce a friend, a partner, a great community leader, the mayor of the city of Troy, Lou Rosamilia.
Good morning, and thank you. Thank you, Mayor McCarthy, for those kind words. It's great to be with you today as we kick off this Manufacturing Week, and especially today being the Manufacturing Day. As Gary was saying, our nation was built on the back of manufacturing. And Troy was a very rich city, as was Schenectady. But as we went through, Troy became one of the wealthiest cities in the world. And as a result, it came up with the nickname, the Collar City. And that came about because of the detachable collar. All right? So we got even some props for you this morning. But these were actually made in the city of Troy. And the idea there was that the women just got tired of doing the washing the collars and the shirt separately and everything. So they said, well, keep wearing the shirt, we'll just wash the collar. Because as you know, gentlemen, what gets the dirtiest? It's your collar. Right? But not only the collar, but also, let me get another prop here. Cuffs. All right? Now, this happens to be a very unusual item. This was sent to someone back in 1902. What they did is they took a cuff, right, and sent it to a friend and said, "Consider yourself cuffed for not replying to my last letter. George Kelly." Right? And this went to an attorney. So I guess attorneys still don't respond to people. But this was from 1902. And a friend of mine came across that and said, you know, we might be really interested in doing something like this. And I said, I'd love to have it, thank you. But flashing now forward to today, where we stand today, and again, as Gary said, we're on the cusp of manufacturing again. We're very fortunate to have Rensselaer County, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in the city of Troy in Rensselaer County, and making a promotion and promoting and building on this concept. Recently, we just opened our first makerspace in downtown Troy, and if you haven't had a chance to get over there, I really recommend going to the new facility in the Quackenbush building called the Center of Gravity. And what it does is it fosters startup programs. It gives opportunities to those people that have dreams but really don't know what direction to take that dream. There are other individuals there to serve them, to work with them, to give them ideas. It could be something maybe in welding, it might be something in architecture, it may be something in producing lights that help in hospitals to prevent bacteria growth in the hospital room. That's what we're talking about, manufacturing. And we are so excited by the city of Troy in having the Center of Gravity located there. So I'm encouraged by this renewed push to not only celebrate the region's storied history, but also encourage future generations to get involved and stay involved. It's now going to be my pleasure to introduce Michael Lobsinger, and listen to this one. Michael Lobsinger, Interim Center Director for Center for Economic Growth, Business Growth, Service, and Manufacturing Extension Partnerships. Wow. It's all yours, sir.
Well, you know, it's easy for me to say, you know, Center Director for MEP program, so.
They didn't give me that.
Welcome, everybody. Congressman, thank you for joining us. Representatives from Hudson Valley and Schenectady Community College, as well as everybody from the school districts, BOCES, but especially the manufacturers and the students that came today. This day is really about you, so just wanted to highlight that. Thank you, Mayor McCarthy, for hosting the event, and Dr. Sudeth for having us have this venue at my side. A little bit about Manufacturing Day. You know, it's an initiative of many partners. We have the National Institute of Standards for Technology, who is really the head of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, the Fabricators of Manufacturers International Association, the National Association of Manufacturers, as well as manufacturers and educational institutions across the country. All have a common goal to educate the public, and through manufacturing open houses, tours, and events. The Center for Economic Growth is a designated regional manufacturing extension partnership center for our region and our 8 counties. Our focus really is to work with manufacturers and help them grow and help them become more efficient and really show why this industry is important to the U.S. There are some statistics I'm going to share with you, so don't mind the boring statistics. Nationally, for every dollar spent in manufacturing, $1.48 is put into the economy. It's a pretty good impact. Additionally, manufacturing comprises of 12% of the U.S. GDP. In our 8-county capital region, we are home to 881 manufacturers. 117 of those are actually in Schenectady County. It's a good number, isn't it? In addition, it employs 32,000 people in our region, and 5,700 of those are in the county of Schenectady. So, manufacturing careers range from engineering, operations managers, fabricators, welders, sales and marketing, IT, human resources, and much more. It is a very broad range of careers that are available in manufacturing. Regionally, the average annual wage for manufacturers is $53,000, which is pretty significant. If you're an entry-level engineer coming into manufacturing, it's $60,000. In closing, Manufacturing Day seeks to improve the public awareness of manufacturing careers and expand the understanding of its value to the U.S. economy. We continue to change the perception of manufacturing. Employees of manufacturers are a culture of teams, creators, makers, innovators, and they take pride in the outcome they create. They head home at the end of the day with a sense of accomplishment, and they are the lifeblood of the things that we use. I encourage all of you to visit the Manufacturing Day website, mfgday.com. Take part and see what's happening in the region, and share that with your community. Again, thank you for everyone for spreading this awareness of U.S. manufacturing. And I have the pleasure of introducing somebody who has been a great proponent in our region for manufacturing and for technology. Every time I see him at an event, he is so engaged with the people at the booths. Congressman Paul Tonko.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael, and thank you to CEG for all you do. It's great to join with everybody here in celebration of manufacturing, to be with our local mayors and our local elected officials, to be with Mac, our host, to be with CEG reps, the higher ed and ed community, their leaders. Thank you so much for putting together the interests that we celebrate today, and that being manufacturing. I'm also joined by two of my coworkers, Marilyn Smith in the back of the room, who does economic development work in the district for the congressional district, the 20th district, and Cora Schroeder, who is our Schenectady operations person over at City Hall. And so I thank both of them for being outstanding coworkers. This morning, I have to lead by telling you, when I'm asked on the House floor or anywhere in my travels about the area that I represent, I define it as the confluence of the Hudson and Mohawk rivers. I think that sets up a good image. And then I further explain that we are the gateway called the Erie Canal that sparked the westward movement and an industrial revolution. So the pioneer spirit is part of our DNA, not just this region, but the country. But primarily, we can focus on that DNA pioneer spirit for this region. And so I think it's important as we celebrate manufacturing today that we dispel those notions of manufacturing that don't accurately record it. People will say it's dirty, dumb, dangerous, and declining. Nothing could be farther from the truth. They don't know manufacturing. And all of us who are involved somehow in forming the career paths of individuals need to be invested in that journey to understand that manufacturing is safe, it's smart, it's sustainable, and it's surging. I think that's what we need to give as a message. And when we look at the international sweepstakes today, the marketplace in which our industries and manufacturers and small businesses function is one about public-private partnerships, one about investment in making the soundest process available as we continue to produce goods that this country and the world needs, and then beyond what we've already developed, providing for the vision of those products that we will require into the future. So what does that mean for us? Well, we've been dubbed one of the hottest hubs in the country for innovation job growth, clean energy, high-tech job growth. That's manufacturing of a special order. We've also been dubbed to be one of the four strongest markets in the country for green product exportation. So that's good news for us. That is something that feathers our nest, and we need to underpin that with sound investments. Why? Because manufacturing is this new version of job growth and security. You know, Michael touted some statistics here that are very important to recognize. When we look at the impact on our economy, $1.7 billion worth of salaries in this Capital District region. That reflects about 11% of the total salaries of the region, but only 7% of the jobs. So he's accurate when he states the average per capita salary is strong in manufacturing. And a changed environment. Today, much of manufacturing is about knowing the skill sets that are high-tech related, having the research that will further develop prototypes and then products that meet the test for our manufacturing base. It gives us new opportunities to grow new product design. You know, if we no longer make and manufacture buttons or brooms, for instance, where they're doing it someplace else, well, we now have the sophistication as an intellectual capacity called the USA to go and develop products that are not yet in the marketplace, and to develop processes that are much smarter. We can win by being the smarter product, absolutely. And so the investment in higher education and education, the STEM focus, and it's so good to see STEM students here today, and to know of those districts that are championing STEM. We need to encourage that science, technology, engineering, and math investment to make students aware, again, of what career paths are available, and to have those skill sets at their fingertips so they can further develop along the education path to be the force that we need. The research absolutely is essential, and certainly other tools that will build not only our physical and capital infrastructure needs, but our human infrastructure needs. All of those are very valuable. You know, it's said that wherever manufacturing exists, those around them are about 12% more productive. So we're an inspiring tool. We're that lightning rod that brings about the best in us, enhances productivity. So it's about knowing what manufacturing is all about today, and it's about having public-private partnerships. I'll close with this. Where I've seen failure with some of our American industry is where there's been an unlevel playing field, where we have needed to invest however we can in a fair and level outcome. I know that with some competitors that our American manufacturers had with perhaps China, they have to compete with the forces of the government buying the building, paying the utility bills, further subsidizing the industry, and then manipulating the currency. We can't sustain that. So it's important for us to have fair trade, not free trade. It's important for us to invest in worker development, making certain that apprenticeship programs, K-12 programs, college programs are looking at state-of-the-art opportunities and skill enhancement that will enable us to be robustly competitive. And then it's about moving forward with issues like the Export-Import Bank. It's deplorable that we would walk away from exporting what we've manufactured here as goods and give away 500 jobs to other countries' workers simply because of the recalcitrance of Congress to get it done, because an export-import bank in their mind is quasi-governmental. That is foolishness of the highest order. And so we need to go forward with all of these efforts with sound public-private partnerships to make it happen. You know, again, going back to my original statement, we are a pioneer spirit. I was born and raised in Amsterdam, the Carpet City. I have the good fortune to represent the host city today, which is the city that lights and halls the world. And I claim as my eastern boundary of the district, Troy, which is the Collar City. You saw that expert presentation this morning. So I have all these wonderful bits of history and heritage that inspire me and fill my voice when I speak to the future of manufacturing. It was our heyday. It is our heyday. It can be an even stronger heyday when we invest wisely, and believe in public-private partnerships, and bolster the strength of the American worker to have a career path can be robustly successful. So I thank you all for this celebration, this focus on what is a very important part, a very important sector of our regional, state, and national economy. Thank you. Now, to leadership that we need in the higher ed community. I recently developed a new friendship with a new individual who now calls the Capital Region home, a delightful soul who has a great laser-sharp focus on higher education and its needs, and a spirit that just immediately engages you into sound discussion about the future of our region. None other than Dr. Steady Muno, new president of Schenectady County Community College. Steady, my friend, please.
Thank you, Congressman Tonko, for your kind introduction. I had the privilege of visiting with a congressman several weeks ago in his Washington, D.C., and if you haven't been there, I'm telling you, it's a treat. Incredibly welcoming, made us feel at home, and feel like I've won a friend for years, so thank you.
Thank you.
I also like to thank Mayor MacArthur, as well as other elected officials and educational and community leaders who are here today. And of course, a big thank you to the Museum of Science and Innovation and our host, President Sadath. What a wonderful resource to have here in our community. And we all appreciate your hosting this informative and important event. Really, we are here and we're talking about access. We may not use that word, but it's really about access. And the community college, one of our strategic anchors that is emerging from 2015 to 2020 is this issue of access. And access is not only a geographical issue, it is also a financial issue, an educational issue as well. So we are celebrating access here and making a commitment by being here to the issue of access. And as the mayor mentioned, this city has a rich heritage of manufacturing and the spirit of innovation. And manufacturing is alive